Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Moving into the Future. Today, we have a special episode as we're coming to you from the New York Design Center at 200 Lexington Ave, where we're in the Desiron showroom, joined by their CEO and COO, Courtlandt Pennell, and Jerry Sullivan. Gentlemen, thank you for having me today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah, this is really great. And as I said, we're at the New York Design Center. This is probably the most historic design building in Manhattan. It's been around for, over 100 years. How has this been for you guys being positioned here in, one of the most advantageous places to find beautiful design in New York City?
Well, I think it's been, it's been very challenging, during the pandemic. We acquired the company a little over a year ago, and this was the existing sort of headquarters showroom, for the brand. And over the last year, working with the Design Center, they've been very helpful and I think very proactive in trying to drive traffic here. I think pre-pandemic, this was a real hot spot for designers to come with their clients and see a wide array of products that could go into projects. And as people are getting out, a little bit more, it certainly has ticked up in terms of traffic. But this is really where Desiron has planted their flag for the last few years, and we've spent a lot of time and energy redoing our showroom. New products, new sort of artwork, new kind of new everything. So we are hopeful that traffic continues to grow, and once we get people in here, they're very excited about sort of the new things that we're offering and the legacy of what Desiron's been the last 25 years.
Right, and that's been something we've all, been dealing with through the pandemic. I've had many people on the podcast talking about, the office space as a whole and how we're kind of rethinking, how we work and how we get people in. I've always, compared it to now, the office space is a lot like a retail space in some sense, where, retail stores are meant to drive people in there, so however they do that, they have to find creative solutions in order to do that. And that's a lot of, what we're doing now. So, Jerry, as the, design director and, the person really focused on new creative solutions for Desiron and their clients, how have you, since you've come on, been positioning Desiron to offer creative solutions to their clients and things of that nature, as people still reconsider, how they're going to reshape their spaces coming out of the pandemic?
Sure. What we're excited about is the sort of ability that this product that we have here is adaptable and flexible within the design world, the greater design world. We can really bridge from a high-end residential world to a luxury brand world to a hospitality world to a commercial world very easily with the sort of breadth of product that we have. And I think foundationally, where the founders of this company really began the company was around that sort of creative, artisanal approach, but a very collaborative approach. And I think what we bring to the table to that design community is that collaborative approach with them and working with them and sort of hearing what they have to say, but also hearing what they're telling us how that new work environment needs to be, both at home and in the office. And that sort of experiential sort of drive and need that a lot of the end users want is becoming sort of paramount to how we're approaching that with the design community as a whole. So, Court was mentioning too about this building. I mean, what makes this building and what makes this location sort of really pivotal for us is that approach where everyone here works with each other. It's definitely an environment that we're all supporting each other. We're inviting each other in. We're sharing ideas. And I think that has sort of transcended through all the design sort of showrooms here and what, Jim Druckmann and the team here have really been pushing to drive more traffic here and more interest here.
Yeah, and you mentioned something really cool too, as far as the collaboration with different designers and different brands. That's kind of something I've learned that Desiron does a lot of, and it's not just furniture; it's lighting designers.
Exactly.
It's a lot of different things, and there's so many things that go into completing a space. Obviously the furniture, the lighting, the art, the plants. the carpeting, all of those things become such key elements, to designing a space. So I'd like, Jerry, I'll start with you, but then I'd like to get your thoughts on it too, Court. How is that working with, different designers, and how do you approach that, from your standpoint with what you have to offer at Desiron? How are you going into those meetings and coming up with collaborative ideas to really push Desiron forward, and then,
Sure.
the spaces forward too?
I think the pivot for us has been really listening. I think Desiron foundationally, again, came to the design community with a product and ideas and physical designs that were appealing. I think where we're now trying to position ourselves and grow this company is to be more of that voice in conjunction with the designers and with that community, from the perspective that we're hearing what they want to do, and then we're letting them know the capabilities that we have to actually help them envision that and ultimately create that. So coming back to how we are interacting with those designers, that's really what we're doing. We're sort of changing the paradigm a little bit. We're listening more, and then still showing them that we can celebrate their ideas with what we already have in our lines, but also we want to welcome them to work with us and collaborate with us and create with us. And I think that conversation has really generated a lot of new interest and a lot of new energy in the company.
Yeah, very cool. Court, what do you think about that?
Well, I think the Desiron and its sort of history and its foundation, was the name Desiron, it's desire and iron, yeah. Right? It's sort of a steel furniture that from the get-go had, wood accents and glass accents and upholstery accents. And so when, as the line was created and grew, and as we've taken it over and modified it and sort of, made it in some ways more current, it's very flexible. And a designer can come in and say, wow, I really like your sofa. But we're looking to do, in a totally different finish, and a little bit smaller. Like, those customizations are really quite easy, and they allow the designer to put their, sort of put their name on it, right?
Right.
And so, hey, I have this Desiron sofa for you that I designed. Right, and here's the fabric that we chose, and here's the custom metal finish that we chose, and here's the wooden accent that we chose. And so for me and Jerry, and from an operational production standpoint, it's a standard sofa, although it's now really belongs to that designer, and they feel ownership to it, which is what they're selling to their clients. So that's it's a win-win sort of for everybody. So it's flexible enough that they can sort of put their take on it. We also do. That's sort of our general collaboration with the design community, but we also do specific collaborations with specific designers or architecture firms. So we have, products. For example, we have a product line with Workshop, which is a large architecture firm in the city, and so we have Workshop by Desiron, right? And so it's their designs married with our production techniques, and we have launched a line of furniture that's been very successful. So we do those kinds of collaborations also, which are a lot of fun, and are super relevant to sort of the design community in general.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then, just so I understand, because, this is definitely out of my world, a company like Workshop is then, taking that product to their clients and basically position it to them for, whatever they may be building out, whether it's a hotel or, a lobby space or an office space or whatever that may be. That's all available to them.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's a collaboration. That's a licensing agreement.
Right.
And so it's the onus is on us to sell it, but certainly, they're a fantastic partner, and collaboratively talking about how we market it and how we sell it. It's a joint effort, which is super exciting and not necessarily the norm, in the licensing world. But we're very specific about who those partners are, and what those partnerships are, and you got to pick the right ones.
Right, exactly, and that kind of segues into my next question, as far as picking the right partnership with you two. You guys, you came into this together. Court, you mentioned you bought Desiron a year ago, and for our listeners, Desiron has been around for 25 years plus, right?
25 years, yeah. It was founded in the late 90s by Frank Carfaro.
Right.
Frank was a, second or third generation, iron smith guy. His grandfather came over from Italy and had an iron workshop over in Newark. I think it's his uncle still has it. Scafaro Ironworks, I think is what it's called. Frank designed a lot of this furniture and started out. He actually worked for Dun and Bradstreet, and he and his brother, on weekends would go weld up stuff.
Right.
And they went to the West Side Flea Market. They used to be. This was like back in the mid 90s, and
Right.
they built a couple tables. They went to the flea market and they sold them in like 10 minutes.
No kidding.
And they were like, we should come back next weekend, so they made 4 tables, and and that's kind of how Desiron was born. And Frank and I have been friends, since college, and so I was always sort of knew what was happening at Desiron, knew what was going on, and had a consulting business, helping companies, with manufacturing and marketing and those sorts of things. And again, Frank and I are great friends. And so I was helping him sort of right when the pandemic started, sort of what's the next 25 years of Desiron look like. And, the end of that arrangement, it was going to evolve a certain way, and it needed some new ownership,
right.
To do that. And, so that was a little over a year ago, and as I was putting together, sort of the management team and how that would work, Jerry and my sister-in-law went to Skidmore together, and they've been friends for 30 years, and they said, you should talk to Jerry. And we had actually worked together a few years ago at Convene. My company was doing some product for Convene. And anyway, so I called Jerry and said, haven't talked in a while, and I've got this opportunity here. Would you be interested in you want to put some money in? Is actually how it started. And then help me run it. And he was like, yeah, this could be really fun. And it sort of went from there. That was a little over a year ago.
And Jerry, for you, what was it that was appealing to you to get involved in something like this? And, because you do have a very interesting, work history, being at JLL, Convene, some architecture firms. What was it about Desiron that was appealing to you to come on as design director?
The passion for design is just always been at the center of me in what I've loved to do, and have had amazing opportunities throughout my career, both in the design world, the real estate world, the construction world, the hospitality world. And, this opportunity started to meld all of that together. And so what Court and I really, talked about was leveraging the network of people that we knew. And me coming more from a true design and commercial and architecture and real estate background, married with his manufacturing, production, and creative side of furniture, we just saw it to be the synergies were right and the connections were right. And I think the vision of where the company wanted to go and how we wanted to grow, knowing that the heavier bulk of what we do is definitely still geared towards a very specific residential market, but we also saw the potential and the excitement of where this could start to go beyond that market, and that's really what was the impetus for me to jump on board here. So
right, and just to kind of extend on that a little bit, as far as beyond that market, are you guys looking to focus more in hospitality or multifamily, like that sort of work, or what is your vision for Desiron and the type of capabilities you want to kind of take to the next level, like you mentioned? Jerry, we'll start with you, and then I'd like to get your thoughts too, Court.
Yeah, it's a layered approach for us right now. I mean, I think the growth, the first out of the gate growth for us really is in that hospitality commercial market. We see that a majority of our product, we feel confident in just knowing the look and the style and the feel of what our product presents itself as really is should be those sort of specialty jewel moments in that type of environment. And that's really where we're seeing that element grow. We're looking at how we tap the residential market greater than just the Northeast market, where this has been a very Northeast-centric business for us. And we're seeing the mountain regions, the West Coast, the Southeast regions are starting to really nod their heads towards us, which is really exciting. So getting into that and how we grow that side of the market. And then the third sort of element for us is really, to Court's point, this is a company that's been around for a long time, but we've also been so true and stayed in a lot of our products that we're needing to sort of freshen up a little bit. And we're getting really excited about some of that new product development that we're really in the throes of right now. And stay tuned, because that's going to be pretty damn exciting for us.
Yeah, very cool. Do you have anything to add to that, or
Well, I mean, even just touching on how you opened up with, spaces are just changing. Right. Commercial spaces are changing a lot.
Right.
And, smaller, more intimate, nicer. Right. I mean, everyone left the offices and worked from home for 2 years, and a lot of them don't want to come back. Right.
Yeah.
So how do you create an environment that makes you want to come back? And, Desiron historically lived in the commercial world, just in the ancillary market, and ancillary being, hey, we're going to do all these, cubicles for the office, but we really want a nice bench for the for the lobby, right? And that is where we live right now, and we're really good at that. And we offer something that is, like Jerry said, it's a moment, right? It's a higher end piece that's super functional, can be tailored to match the space. And is part of that ancillary budget in those larger builds on the commercial side. And it's a fun little place to play in, because we have a very, focused, line of furniture that, let's say, again, is high-end residential New York City. However, because of its flexibility, can be altered a little bit to fit in those spaces really well.
Right. And that's, you guys both said something really interesting in terms of the changing space. And, you mentioned this being like a Northeast brand predominantly, for the last 20 years or so, whatever. But I remember when I was part of the real estate team at Indeed and designing spaces there, we used to try to put a certain touch on offices where, when you walked in, you knew that you were an Indeed office, but something that would make it unique. So I'm thinking of Seattle right now, where this modern industrial is kind of like new wave there. Do you guys see that in certain markets where people are buying, where it is kind of facilitating down to, the South a little more, and Nashville or somewhere like that? Do you guys see certain markets become more just prominent for your type of products and design and stuff like that?
I think overall, in general, in the marketplace, absolutely, right? And these sort of smaller urban settings. Let's just use Nashville for example. They are making a concerted effort to create really nice spaces, right? Maybe I didn't say that right. It's not like they weren't doing it before, but it is a little bit different,
it's
right?
Becoming more modern.
It's becoming more modern,
right.
And although we don't play in those other cities as much today as we will in the future, that's a huge motivation for us to expand our outlet, how we sell the product, right? And as we develop all of our new products this year, we have 3 new product launches happening this year, which is a lot of work. One would be a lot of work, and we're doing 3 before the end of the year. Those are part of the development of those was not only the aesthetic, but was also how can we sell this profitably in other markets, right? Whether it's multi-line showrooms or whether it's sales reps, whether it's new maybe there's a new Desiron showroom right in a market, and but you have to structure your costings the right way,
certainly, which
is very challenging in today's market, as especially working in steel and wood. We get changes daily on not only lead times but pricing on sort of standard materials. So it's something that is 100% part of our future, and really going to start exploring that towards the end of this year.
Right. And Jerry, can you tell us a little bit more about the new product lines and how you guys are strategically using those to offer something new to clients?
I can't divulge everything yet. But in all seriousness, though, I think the focus for us has been taking what you brought up earlier about how people are wanting to work and interact within space.
Yeah.
And that more personalized, that more sort of comfortable place to be. where work isn't just about task oriented. I'm coming here to experience this place with
space.
other people and coworkers.
Right.
And the more that space and the elements and the products within that space reinforce that experience, that personal experience then becomes that much more enjoyable, and people want to be in that space more. And what we're feeling, what the products that we're making, those are enhancing those moments, and those are enhancing those experiences. So we're trying to celebrate that idea of the workspace and the office space shouldn't just be what they were used to seeing. It can be more than that. And the end user wants that.
Yeah.
And they're demanding it in some ways. And that's becoming, in weird ways, almost the new benefit or the new perk. It's like,
Right.
I'm going to come work for you because I want the environment I work in to be enjoyable and special.
Yeah, and that's also a really great point. And I ponder this often because I really do have a passion, opening offices, opening WeWorks. You were at Convene. So again, like that shared office space dynamic is a little bit different than the private office space dynamic. But again, the draw of both is to get people there now. And I often wonder, the office space of the future, could kind of look a little bit like this, sans the bed, but
Yeah, exactly.
but really a space where you're going to be able to go to different pockets of that office and spark some level of, creativity or productivity or something along those lines. How do you guys see it from your standpoint? Jerry, we'll start with you, and then Court, you can answer as well. How do you guys, see that and then creatively think whether you're, again, collaborating with new designers or creating new lines to service those needs to, spark that creativity or collaborativeness or whatever it may be?
I think it's again, coming back to my earlier point about listening to what the design community is really being asked to do. And we're trying to follow their leads, but at the same time, we want to be that influencer, a little bit of that inspirer, so to speak, to them. And I think the more that is being explored and being desired in the workplace and in the general office space of wanting it to be this mixture, this little, think about even the hospitality world where the more smaller boutique hotels, the more smaller boutique environments, people want that experience. They want to be in a place where they feel that it's personalized and connected to them. And so I think that's where we're going, not only with the new product, but even just our bigger vision of the company as we grow. We want to be that sort of that beauty element within it. We want to be that sort of moment within that overall work experience that people really enjoy and can celebrate, not only seeing it in their office environment, but would love to see that coffee table in their living room, or would love to see that console table in their front foyer. I mean, those are the kind of things where we see the bridging of our product, which was, again, very residentially focused in its beginnings, to start really spreading out to hit a multitude of markets.
Yeah, that's really great. That's really, again, interesting how they're all becoming one in some sense, but, they all certainly serve their individual purpose within the space. It's really cool when you think about it.
We rarely do a commercial project where somebody from the company that purchased from us didn't then buy something for their house.
Right.
Rarely.
Right.
We just delivered a couple of console tables to a manufacturing facility for their boardroom and everything down in South Carolina, and the CEO, bought a bed and a bench for his house.
Yeah.
Right. So it's it does cross over.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Certainly. And you said something too before, as far as manufacturing. And you guys are U.S. based. You do all of your manufacturing in the U.S., correct?
Correct.
Right. And that's where that's your world, and where you came from, Court. You and your family have been involved in carpentry and furniture design really your whole life. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But from about 1995 till 2013, I had a company that was really focused on retail store fixtures.
Okay.
And so we would do retail interiors for lots of different brands, but all scalable, right? So we would build all of the for a lot of sports brands, and we did a lot of their international construction.
Wow.
Right. And so it was always, the manufacturing side was always like taking this really pretty store that you wanted to create and making it scalable, making it affordable, right? All those sorts of things. So, we used to have a big manufacturing facility in Vermont, and it had all the machines, and so sort of figuring out how to build things has been something that I've been doing it my whole life. So
that's really neat.
So looking at even coming into the Desiron world several years ago, with Frank, and looking at sort of how he was making things, and you ever think about making it this way, right? And maybe you could join it this way. So there's some. Been doing that a long time for sure. And as Desiron, builds its we have metal vendors and we have wood vendors and all pretty much in the tri-state area. Working with them on how to actually execute on a design is really fun.
Right.
Is really fun.
And that's one of the things too that Desiron does well, and you guys have really highlighted as that service is the customization. So just because you walk in this showroom and a certain table looks a certain way, that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to, be bought that way. There's different finishes and different capabilities, whether, it's the glass or the wood or, the iron fixture. You guys can really customize all of that, huh?
And there's sort of those different levels of customization, right? If you have a standard table base, but somebody wants a piece of stone instead of a piece of glass, well, that's a relatively easy customization, right? It's just a different, it's a different top. If somebody wants it a little bit longer, or a little bit wider, or a little bit taller, for the most part, that's relatively straightforward as well. It's when people come to us with, you have I love your square table with the glass top, but I want it round with a stone top, and that's if it's totally different and off-brand for us, right? Off our, we want people to notice our furniture out in the marketplace and say that's a Desiron piece, right? That's an important part of our brand. So, we get all kinds of requests for sure, and knowing how to navigate those well and try to help out the client, but also knowing that you can't be everything to everybody, right?
Right.
And
you got to maintain the brand integrity.
And lead times in furniture these days are every week it gets longer, right?
Believe me, I know.
And so how do you what kind of we are a boutique, right, custom furniture company that has a very extensive line of its own furniture, and how do we continue to make that at the price points where we need to make it, but also make it quickly, because that's a differentiator in today's market for sure. Right. And so we have several different sort of levels. We have some inventory products, some of our sort of back to that word ancillary. We have some side tables and end tables in our most popular finishes that are, every bit Desiron. They are our DNA that we have sort of in stock, ready to go. That was a big investment we made last year, and it's paid off, right? Yeah. A designer comes to the end of the project and they're like, oh, whoops, I forgot the mirrors, and we have 3, mirrors. We have beautiful mirrors, right? These beautiful mirrors that are sort of in stock and ready to go. So that has helped mitigate some of that, and then to the manufacturing side, really engineer the products well so that some of the parts can be made ahead of time, right? The raw parts. Right. So it's not like, we've got to go buy the lumber, right, to make this table, and everything has been pushed out from a lead time standpoint. It's 24 weeks. Well, we already have the lumber, right? We already have it actually cut to long lengths, and for those tables, it all comes out of that stock. So now our lead times go from 24 to 16 just overnight, right? Just doing that,
which is
a
huge proposition.
And then if it's even farther down the field, you may be able to do less. I mean, we're running, on our steel and glass and upholstered furnitures, we're running under 12-week lead time still.
Wow.
And our wood casework is more like the 12 to 16 week lead times. And trying to maintain that's really challenging.
Yeah,
for sure.
Certainly. I mean, that's my world with logistics and moving and all of that type of work. I'm involved in it every day, and like you said, it's definitely. Every week it gets a little longer. It's definitely not getting better right now.
And Jerry, we have this beautiful showroom in the design center, and we make a conscious effort to flip the furniture in here all the time.
Yeah.
right? So
Keep it fresh.
Not only to keep it fresh, but also it's an offering to our clients. So they come and they love this sofa, and it's 12, 14 weeks to get this sofa, but they could actually probably have this one right now because I'm already making another one to replace this one. We do that all the time anyway. Right. So we always have a constant new product coming in. So we're constantly motivated to move the stuff that's on the floor. It's not a second, it's not a sample. It's a first quality piece, but it's also available. Right. Which is, not a lot of showrooms do that because once they sell it, oh my God, I have this big hole in the floor. What am I going to do?
You're we've been really strategic. 10 steps ahead in that sense.
So when we get an order for a product or we're in production on a product, we really look at our inventory and what we have in the showroom and be like, ooh, we could actually put, a new lounge chair, in the showroom. So, hey guys, those are ready to go.
Nice.
Right? We can move those. So again, we're trying to offer solutions because it is a challenging environment for our design and architecture partners for sure.
Yeah. And Jerry, just to kind of add to that, you can go first, but I was going to kind of say, when you're working with those designers on projects, and again, you understand this from, past opportunities and positions that you've had in your career, when you're going through that design to build to, deliver an installation process, how are you guys kind of strategically looking at that, kind of to stem off, what Court just said?
Sure. I think we're trying to always stay paramountly true to the brand. At the same time, we're wanting to understand manufacturing. What is the best way to build that? What is going to be the most efficient way to build that? And also, what is really tied to the design community again about what they want, what they're seeing. What are the finishes that are trending right now? What are the levels of materiality that are trending right now? We're trying to always keep that finger on the pulse, and I think that's why Court and our enthusiasm right now with a lot of the new product that we're really pushing hard on is really driving that message. And I come back to the beginning of the conversation of what drew me here and what drew us to this company. It is that personal connection that we have. It's not only the way this business was started truly as a family and family, connections, and it continues to kind of build off of that. And I think that is so true to what we're about, both as direct family or indirect family. And I think the way we've worked with the design community and our manufacturers and everybody, it is a personal connection. We're designing and building things that are personally handled and touched by our artisans and craftsmen that are doing this. And I think we want that to transcend into the relationships and the partnerships that we currently have and that are going to continue to grow further down the road. Yeah,
most definitely. And we'll finish kind of up on that is, with that mindset in place, where are you guys seeing this? You mentioned too, Court, you kind of were brought on here to take Desiron to the next level. What is that next level for you? Where do you see it going? And what are you trying to make of it?
Well, I think there's obviously thought there was a great opportunity here, right? And to build on what Frank had created over the years, right? But again, sort of take it to the next, what do the next 25 years look like? And I think this market is, in general, the high end, residential and commercial furniture market. It's so vast. There's so many different avenues you can go down, and really, we've learned a lot in the last year, right? And we've I think have a really good strategy for the rest of this year and next year with it, like as Jerry was saying, creating products that are flexible enough that they can work in a multitude of different environments, right? I can see, growing this company 3-4 times pretty easily with the way that we're doing things, right? We create a really nice product. Like generally speaking, nobody says, hey, that wasn't great. That wasn't a great experience from an end product, standpoint. And that's been the case for 25 years. And so if we don't lose that and we continue to do some creative, right, and strategic things on the new product development side, we're super excited about what the future holds for sure. You can't be everything to everybody, right? Right, but we have a lot to offer.
Yeah, you got to do what you do well, and then find ways to do it well in different ways. Exactly. So gentlemen, thank you so much for doing this today. It's been great. I love this showroom. I love all of the pieces in here. You know, it really is inspiring and exciting, you know, to be here. So thank you again for having me. This was really great.
Oh, we really appreciate it as well. It was fun to it's fun to talk about what you're doing, right? And especially in an environment like this where you're like, oh, wow, we really are doing that, right?
Yeah,
And so yeah, we thank you for coming as well, Jack.
Great opportunity. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure, gentlemen. Looking forward to sometime soon again.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Until next time.